It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Bigfoot Outlaw channel, and thanks for tuning in. If you're not a subscriber or follower, please join us. It's free. And we want to welcome Leonard to the show and everybody, and Curtis. Hello there, Chicken Man. Nice to see you there. And for the people that are watching outside our living room, welcome to the show. Brian, Mike, Mary, how are y'all doing tonight?
What's up?
Doing good. Be able to come on and share some screen time with two friends.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, Roger. Nice to see you there, brother. So, Mike, it's interesting talking about Sasquatch experiences and encounters. And Mike just got zapped. And I was telling Mary, Brian, about one of Mike's experiences that he had, and he did not know what it was when he had the experience until the next day.
Grizzly, start that over. I hit a wrong button and I got out of it.
That's all right. I was telling Mary and I was telling Brian about one of your Bigfoot encounters that you had and experiences. And I told Mary I wouldn't tell her the story because it's so funny. I wanted Mike to tell us again.
All right. Okay,
and it's about the red and blue lights.
Oh, yeah. the red blue lights. You want me to tell that story?
Yes.
Okay, so my buddy Bigfoot Bill, who since has moved to Oklahoma and has agreed to come on in the show and would be a wonderful guest for 2 or 3 shows. He's got so much, he had a place over Madison County. Property bordered Mark Twain National Forest, and we would go. He had his house, and he had a little cabin on the property, perfect. And we'd camp go over to camp a lot, and a lot of Bigfoot activity. And this was probably a couple years, almost 2 years ago, and he had a overnight planned as a Friday night. And weather was real nice for December, with uncharacteristically warm. And I had a basketball game that I had to work, high school basketball game. And my school was about 25 minutes from his place. And so the time I got out there on Friday night, it was probably close to 10 o'clock. And you remember we did the show, we had Adam Whited from the Half Inch Wrench Crew.
Right.
Adam, it was the first time I met Adam. Adam was out there. He lives over in that area. And Miguel from Sasquatch Theory was out there. Good friend of mine. And Steve, Bigfoot Steve, we had him on the show a few weeks ago, Steve Nabowski. Those 3 were out there, Bill, me. I get out there, I'm tired. We talk a little bit. Everybody's going to go to bed. The cabin's going to be kind of cramped with Miguel, Steve, Bill, or Adam. And Bill says Bill's wife was out of town for the weekend. I can understand why. And Bill said, "Why don't you just come in the house and crash in the house?" He says, up there in the front room. And I said, okay. And he had nice recliner, and I fell right to sleep. And I get up, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I look out the window, which overlooks the yard where the fire pit is, and then about 40 yards on the other side of the yard is the tree line going into the woods. The cabin's off to the right, and down in that tree line I see what looks like red, blue, like a police siren flash. And I'm like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Something has got a red and blue. And I'm like, what kind of emergency? I'm like, wait a minute. The road is not down there. That's the woods. There's no way to get an emergency vehicle down there. And I'm wondering, are these guys down there doing something that I don't know anything about, and over in the cabin? So I go out to investigate. And these guys, all three of these, there's nobody. They're in the cabin sleeping. I didn't want to bother them. And I'm looking down in that, and I see this, and I'm like, and I'm not hearing anything. And then I just got to think to myself, what is doing that?
Brian, this gets good.
Is it something that I want to go confront by myself? Or do I want to wake the others up and we all go confront it? All these things are going through my mind. And I'm like, and I decide, you're talking about the tree line where I'm standing, the tree line, and down the tree line, you're talking about, you're 60 yards from me. And then sometimes that light would stop, and then it'd start back up again, then it would stop. and I'm just kind of like, this might be something that I don't want to deal with right now. So I just went back into the house and went back to nodded off, went back to sleep. We get up the next morning. We're all standing out there, and I asked these guys, I said, hey, I saw the strangest thing last night. And I told them what I saw. And Adam Whited, Half-Inch Wrench Crew, he was on this show. Adam got one of these little from the dollar store, a cat ball. I call it a cat ball. And he set that cat ball over there at the tree line on a stump. And guess who picked the cat ball up and was playing with it down in the woods? and now, had I known that, had I known that's what it was, I don't know how far I would have gone down to pursue, what's going on, but I would have definitely, said something or, something to that effect. But I thought, my goodness, those.
Wondering if there's a UFO with some serious American.
I was beginning to think of all those stories. My goodness, alien abduction or what. I'm sitting thinking, all these things are going through my mind at that time. And I'm like, and you had a simple explanation for it. Little cat ball doing all that.
Brian, when Mike first shared that on the air, I lost it because I could see Mike looking at this going, what the heck?
I try to rationalize things in a logical way. I try to rationalize it, and it is like, I'm trying to think what is, and I just, no.
So I wanted to tell Mary that story so bad, but there's no way that I can tell it like Mike, right? So we're going to try to use some cat balls or ghost balls, whatever you call them, and try it while we're out seeing Mike.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. That
because we got 16, 18 left, and they're great tools during the paranormal research when we go investigating cemeteries, buildings, or homes.
Well, and these juvenile Sasquatches, they like to play with toys.
Yes,
and they like bright colored toys, and what better toy for them to play with? I mean, they're just having a ball with that thing, and I could now if they'd have told me, hey, we put this cat ball over here. I had no idea. And
Now, I do want to say something.
And I was too chicken to go too far in down there to find out. So.
Hey, I'm right there with you. You know, I scream like a woman. I mean, everybody knows that in the Bigfoot world.
So,
but I got an idea, but I just don't want the LGBTQ community to come after us.
Yeah. You better shut up then.
Look at Brian blush.
Oh boy.
Brian, I think Brian got the idea, didn't you? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, back to our normal broadcasting now. But
normal?
anyways,
Anything normal about Bigfoot?
Isn't it funny though too how so many people when they have encounters and they go out in the middle of the night and then they see something so strange and then the first thing they do is go back to bed.
Yes.
I want to go back to bed. I don't know what it is.
Well,
you know what?
And I went back and I continued to watch it a little bit from the window, and I'd finally dozed off and went back to sleep. But it was like, and then I left that cat ball out there. It had to be the cat. They took the cat ball. They were playing with the cat ball. Man,
Brian, you're right. When I was in Arizona, when we were witnessing possibly UFO phenomenon, everybody thought I was crazy because I kept watching. It looked like planes fly across the sky and just disappear. And I was puzzled. And everybody kept saying, Grizzly, there's a mountain over there. And it's going behind the mountain. I said, the hell it is. The mountain's not that way. The mountain's this way. And then it looked like things were coming out of where these things were going into. Now, mind you, Mike knows all the camera equipment and devices I take with me on investigations. I had everything laid out, not even 20 feet from me inside the kitchen on the buffet table. Not one moment did I think to record or take photographs or anything because I was so astonished because they thought I was crazy. Everybody did. They really thought I was crazy. Amy said, I don't want to know about what Grizzly just said a minute ago. You don't, Amy. If you do, call me after the show. I'll talk.
Well, you bring up a good point because I could have easily got my cell phone out and videoed that light. But I was so astonished with what was going on, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Right.
And so.
No, I totally agree with you. And the only validation I got is I can't remember his name. If you're watching the show, sir, I'm sorry. As the MUFON director for Arizona was on our show, I think a couple of months, 2-3 months after that. And we were talking before the show, and because he moved from where I grew up in Kentucky and moved out to Arizona because his wife had a new position with the company. And he was like, man, he's like, Grizzly, you got to file reports. He said, we were getting all kinds of reports just like that. And he said, your eye encounter witness. Well, Mike, remember those two lights I saw? I had to draw a picture because I couldn't explain it. I mean, that was not a plane. Yeah. But now let's shift this a little bit because I notice I've been sharing information with Mary, especially about a lot of these people on Tubi and other shows that are well known that do things that we do, that make their own shows and put them out there that are credible, the ones that we're watching. It's the phenomenon when it comes to UFOs or UAPs and Bigfoot. There's so many theories out there and how that's entangled because we don't know if it's related or not. But, we talk to people. They see UFOs, UAPs, however you want to classify it. And either they see Bigfoot before or after or during. What's your take on that, Mike and Brian?
I'll go first on that. I talked on the phone extensively with Joe Turry about a year ago, and Joe's a UFO investigator. He does what's the documentaries he puts out, and I don't Monsters Among Us or something like that.
Oh yes, I know exactly.
He's from
Right.
up Illinois, and because Joe did two recent documentaries out of Southern Illinois that have come out in the past 6 months. One of them is on the Big Muddy Monster, Bigfoot over there.
Right.
And the other one's on the Grand Tower UFO. Grand Tower, Illinois is where we're going to be in a couple weeks is right across the Mississippi River from Grand Tower, Illinois. So he asked me the question about a correlation, because we have at the campsites in the last 5 years, we have on occasion seen what we would call UFOs in the sky.
Right.
Only because I say UFO because it was doing things up there on a couple of occasions that no other aircraft known to us would do.
Absolutely.
And were they aliens? I don't know. Was it military? I don't know. I just know it was, it was unidentified. And my answer to Joe was, I don't think they're related. I don't think they're related. Yes, I've seen the UFOs in the skies. I've dealt with the Sasquatches on the ground. Obviously, there are people that testify to a relation.
Die-hard believers.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. And I explained to Joe, I haven't witnessed or observed or gathered enough evidence to connect the two. And that's
absolutely. That is a phenomenal answer, Mike.
But the cat ball thing, and see, that turned out to have a logical explanation to it.
Right.
But I can promise you, at 3:00 in the morning, I was starting to entertain the outer world of possibilities.
Brian, what's your take? What is your opinion, kind sir?
I didn't used to think they were related whatsoever, but being on the show, and you make a good analogy, is I quit drawing lines in the sand now. I don't know. I've never seen one, a UFO. So it's, but there's so many. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Happy co-host there. So many theories out there, about Bigfoot, and I've seen so many stories about them being intertwined, on other YouTube channels, and the fact that, the theory out there that Bigfoot were the workers for the aliens, and they just kind of got left behind, or maybe they were prisoners and got left behind. So,
or pets.
Yeah, pets. I mean, talk about something that's got some real power if you can keep a 12-foot imaginary monkey for a pet.
I was not expecting that. That was good. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show. Brian, you make a very valid point, right? Because I do use that analogy a lot, and Mike knows I did used to draw a line in the sand, and I would never budge. But the more people we speak to and interview, and also the experiences that we deal with, it makes you wonder, right? Because number one, there is nobody in this world on this planet Earth that somebody's got Bigfoot figured out. No, not happening right now. So one of the things that we do look forward to as humans is try to understand something that doesn't conform to science that we know as of right now. Not tomorrow, but as of right now, because technology changed. If we talked about quantum mechanics like Ron does a lot, right? 15, 20 years ago, they think you're nuts. They think you're crazy. And I use Ron Moorhead a lot because we spent time after I got hurt, and I really had a chance to talk to him about certain things, not on the air, so people could speak freely, right? because we do have to be careful what we say because people will label you.
Oh yeah,
Label us whatever you want because we're open. We're not saying,
right.
I mean, Brian, Mike, we've heard people that had some strange encounters, but then how can we, right, as researchers or investigators, say to somebody, no, that did not happen. Right? We weren't there, right? Now, there are some people that think something happens and they make themselves believe it did happen when it did not. So you got to be very careful about that. But the problem is, Scott and I talk to Ron quite often. We text back and forth. Hey, my vlog, Sonny, nice to see you. But the thing though is that just because, let's just call it ignorance right now, right? We're just ignorant about stuff. How we're basing all our information off of is other people's encounters and experiences that we do know that's credible. And then we look at the people that we don't know. And this is to where when people fabricate evidence, pictures, tracks, whatnot, claim to have hair, and they turn out to be false or they're found out, that really puts a damper on the non-believers, right? And I met a guy today. He recognized me even after I had to shave my beard off. And he was like, you really think it's real? I'm like, yeah, Bigfoot is real. I had one touch my tent and broke it. And that guy looked at me like I was nuts.
Yeah, they think.
And he was like, are you serious? I'm like, man, he said, that thing's I'm telling you, they're real. And I was like, I'll take you out in the woods. Trust me. Yeah, he's a ex-correctional officer here in Tennessee. But it's people like that does all the hoax and fabrication. It really hurts. But we have to take things with a grain of salt and weigh those out, because how can somebody in California and then across in Georgia or Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas, all have the same encounters and they never met each other. They never posted their stories or anything.
Bingo.
Right.
Because
right. Absolutely.
Because, my journey has been a process for 5 years in this, and I'll go out for an outing and come back, and my wife and I talk about it, and she's not into it, but she believes in what I'm doing, and she knows that I'm being honest with her when I tell her things, and I remember the first time I saw the orbs. It's 2-3 years into it. And then I'm like, whoa, I'd heard about the orbs and I'm new to this stuff. I'm thinking, those guys, that's too far fetched. And then when I started seeing them and multiple times now,
right.
Now, I remember talking to her about it, and she's like, okay. You're going to have to quit doing this. Now you're starting to get crazy on me. And I'm like, I can't help what I'm observing. I'm not going to deny what I'm seeing.
Absolutely.
And so now, in our backyard, we've got a pool, we got a little landscape, and I got a Sasquatch metal cutout there. And so now for this summer, what has she done? She's gone out to the store and she's bought these little, solar powered orbs and sit next to the landscape and the Sasquatch, and they'll come on at night and glow. So, I got you some orbs, she said.
And I totally agree. Brian, what is your take about all this, and how do you feel about it?
It's real, and it's better today than it was 30 years ago to talk about, but even today,
Absolutely.
Lane's a good example, because I had been out doing this for 2 years and was bringing home photos of tracks and some blob squatch and stuff, and I didn't realize she was only entertaining the idea. She didn't believe, and it took I just facepalm myself because of the fact that all of a sudden she's believing because Tucker Carlson did a show on Bigfoot being real.
Well, that makes it real.
Right.
So I do have
Right.
all kinds of evidence and it's not real, but Tucker Carlson says it is, so automatically now it's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's what, and with Mike seeing orbs, who am I to say that, I love and trust Mike that I believe he saw orbs. Just because it
Well,
hasn't
down at
happened to me.
LBL, I saw orbs. I saw a orb
Right.
up the hill, crossing it right in front of the cemetery. But Brian and Mike, is that we got credible people that are not into Bigfoot, that are avid hunters, and have finally come forward and saying, no, there is a connection with orbs and Bigfoot. Because I was in a deer stand and I heard crunch, 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 and here comes two orbs. Out of nowhere, Bigfoot appears right out of the light. And it's just like, well, maybe there is some validity to it. Because just because we don't understand how something works doesn't mean it isn't real. For an example, God. We don't see him, right? We don't have evidence, but we do have experiences, testimonials, the Bible. I just try to share that because,
right.
a lot of people, even the ones I talked to today, when I told the guy, they're real, I'll take you out. And he just looked at me like I'm crazy. And he knows my title and knows my experience. And he was taken back. I mean, he was literally shocked. And he's probably watching right now. I didn't mention your name, buddy. So, hey, Joey, nice to see you. Scott says, Mike and Brian, let me click on the comment. He says, I went to Salt Fork and had boulder-sized basketballs thrown at us. And humans don't do that. I mean, I can toss some rocks, but nothing like people are experiencing.
Nothing like that. And that's a little intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
Basketball-sized boulders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a show of power. Look how big I am.
Yeah.
You could be next,
So,
well, you look at, for example, one of the things that puzzles me, right? And I do want you all be safe driving, Joey. Want your all's opinion. I was supposed to be there that weekend. I know this has been a rough year, guys, but I'm working through it. I forgot what I was going to say. What was I saying, Brian?
We were talking about boulders being thrown.
Right, stuff like that. But we know for a fact we got little Johnny out there in the woods running around in ape suit. Hands down, probably drunker than Cootie Brown, okay? Causing havoc in hell. That happens. I'm not saying it doesn't. But when you have doctors, attorneys, judges, high-ranking people in the government, and also your local police departments, and also government agencies with 3 letters, be like, no, it's out there, right? But I am glad to see people that had encounters when they were younger starting to finally come out and speak about it. And one of the things that I credit this to is Mike and Brian and people on our channel and other channels coming forward and telling everybody, you know what, you're not alone. It does happen. We cannot explain it. That's like Mary's kids going on 8 and 14. When they start getting interested in Bigfoot, and I sit there and tell them, there are other things out there in the woods that you do not know about that are not supposed to exist. And their young minds couldn't wrap their thoughts around the process, right? Couldn't understand it.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand it. And then they have an encounter and they lose control. Some people have PTSD, nightmares. Some people don't go hunting or fishing anymore. Water says, keep it up. Truth's going to come out. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I'm sure the rest of the world will see it too. Absolutely.
Well, it's like our guest about a month ago, Kevin Brannick. He hasn't hunted since 2016.
Prime example.
128. I haven't been out there since, he said. And it wasn't that he wouldn't go hunting. He wouldn't tell anybody why he wouldn't go hunting. His wife would say, aren't you going deer hunting this year? And he'd come up with No, I don't. Too much work, too much. Not because I saw a Bigfoot and I don't want to go back to those woods.
Yeah, that's why I did that show last week
Yeah.
on the Bigfoot in the tabloids, because the National Enquirer and the World News and the Star were all
I'm
considered.
having Bigfoot's baby.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Oh yeah. And then when I dug up how can I say it? Bigfoot was a lady of the night, for pay, named Helen, but at the same time, then you had more believable ones. Like I know Patterson Gilman film was in there at one point.
Right.
The girl who got kidnapped. Ust.
Albert Ostman.
Yeah, thank you.
Albert Ostman.
And but those made it too. So it's almost like a little microcosmos of what Bigfoot is. Yeah, there's some malarkey floating through them, but at the same time, you look back through, and some of those are like make you tilt your head a little bit. Well, maybe no.
Right. Or you can be like Mary and think there's holler monkeys in the woods.
Yeah.
I still
You
like.
thought there was a howler monkey in the woods?
You got to hear her story. I got to get her on the show one night and tell her. So, and I'm going to use her as an example, right? Because she probably had some credible encounters when she was younger, and also up to 4 years ago, and had no stinking idea of anything about Bigfoot. And then when she started learning and hearing you guys, Mike, Scott, and Brian Barber, and everybody else, and start watching these shows, she's like, "Oh my God, I think I did." And then we go over it, it's like, yeah, it sounds like you actually had some Bigfoot encounters.
Right.
And then, she takes me down there to the area, and we possibly have alleged tracks in the mud. And it's like, shut the front door. What's the chances of us going down there? And I think, Mike, I showed the pictures on one of the shows. I said it was questionable.
Yeah.
Because the length of the stride, and how they're in front, not side by side like the human would walk.
Yeah. The right on top of each other.
Right. Yeah. But there's a lot to learn, and we have to learn from each other, and we have to learn how to dissect and understand people's encounters, because the mind is very powerful, and it will protect the body, especially in fear and stressful situations. So that's just my take on it.
Well, you have so many people they start out with the, people like us are crazy.
Right.
And then when they
my doctor
realize,
tells me I'm crazy, so I know.
when they realize, when we don't waver, how many people in our circles have come back to us and said, okay, well, you know what? Now that you mention it, there was this time when such and such happened.
Right. Absolutely.
There was this time, so it's not like they have not had encounters. They just didn't know what they were at the time.
Absolutely.
They hadn't heard the noises. They just didn't understand what they were at the time. They just dismissed it, So, I don't know how many people that I've talked to have said that. And people who, thought I was nuts at first. Well,
oh yeah.
I had a student last year during deer season. He just, and he kind of like, and he's sitting there telling his deer hunting story about how, something kind of, he described a perfect scenario of a Bigfoot, snapping some trees and shaking some trees and doing some things, to intimidate him out of his stand and move him on. And he's like, describing that. I said, you know what you're describing, don't you? You're describing what you tell me I'm nuts about. A Sasquatch out there.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, that I am blessed to have is a lot of training through the government and other organizations, how to interview and to interrogate somebody, if you want to use the non-police term, right? to try to understand any deceit or any fabrication. But, you know, when I ask this question to Brian right now, watch his face. When you first was in your El Camino and that stepped in front of you, what was your first thoughts?
It was a bear or a bag of garbage. That's what it was.
Because, see, our human brains will try to justify and analyze what we already know that's in our memory banks to put that with what we're seeing, to identify that from our past experiences. So without any past experiences with Bigfoot or any encounters with evidence or whatnot, any interactions, you don't know, just like Mary didn't. And the more that she's learning, she's like, wait a minute, just like Mike said, it was shaking trees and tree branches were breaking, and you know, it's just the amount of evidence. But and this is what we talk about. Grizz, can you remote view any of my sightings? I'll talk to you about that, Scott. Is one of the things that I always say about when you're investigating. Always set the stage about what you're doing when you try to explain why you think it's possibly Bigfoot. And Mike does a good presentation about tracks, broken tree branches, snapped trees, where they lay formations out, the X, the tree structures, the birthing huts, however you want to call them. When you start getting, you know, for example, the standard field sobriety test, right? For the people that don't know, if you ever get pulled over for an OWI, they have to have so many points per section to qualify you as driving while intoxicated. So the more marks you have, what does that show? The probability is high that you are intoxicated, just like with Bigfoot, right? Or anything that you're researching. Brian, you have alleged feces in your freezer in a sweet and low box. And how credible is that? Is 110%, because you look at the length and the width of that, and then you explain how you recovered it. Because let me tell you something. If I had any idea that that was not possibly Bigfoot DNA or Bigfoot feces, I sure the hell wouldn't be digging in the snow and ice with my bare hands and getting underneath my fingernail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have held on to it this long either.
Right. Right, correct. And it's amazing because us three, just like everybody else in the phenomenon, right? People will come to us in confidence, be like, you know what do you think about this? Or this happened, and I'm not for sure, because they're testing the waters. Because like Mike and you said, they're afraid to. And yeah, you get chastised, you get made fun of. Us, we don't care. You know, it is what it is.
A lot of people are sensitive about that. They don't
very.
like, you know, I'm to the point I don't really, you know, care like the rest of the three of us. And, you know, you can say what you want. You know, I didn't just go out there and start saying, I'm going to go out there and start acting like I'm looking for this mythical creature because I think it's fun. I didn't, you know, it's, you know, when you find the evidence, when you weren't looking for it, when you weren't expecting it.
Right.
You know, in my case, it was, I've got to know more. So, yeah.
Right.
And then the more, you know, then when you get into the things like we talked about earlier, the aliens and things like that, just because I haven't experienced it doesn't mean it's not out there. You know, that doesn't mean there's not a correlation. I'm just saying I'm not there yet, but I wasn't at the orbs, 4 years ago, you know, or you know, as you experience different things. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I would have never dreamed that I would put a glow in the dark ball out.
Yeah.
And,
who would have thought that? Adam.
Yeah. Put a glow in the dark ball out. It sits there 2 weeks and then just disappears. And I think, okay, you know, a raccoon or something. And then 3 months later, it's put back in the same spot. And I'm like, what is this? And it didn't dawn on me till I got back to the car. It's like, wait a minute. And I pull it out. I put it under my shirt and looked down, and the ball didn't glow anymore.
Right. I mean, isn't that crazy? So
I mean, I can think of
I don't know who said this. I don't know if it was Brian or Mike, but I want to touch on this. I think people that are investigating and researching whatever phenomenon that they're doing, we'll just say Bigfoot or Sasquatch for now, have the right intentions in the beginning. And then people think they're going to get famous and rich and make a lot of money.
Right.
And that's when temptation always fails. Because let me ask you this question, gentlemen. What does a lock do on a door?
protect what's inside.
A lock
Yeah, what does a lock do?
doesn't do anything on a door unless it's used properly.
It keeps the honest people honest.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Just like your car doors when you lock them. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just a piece of glass. I mean, what's going to stop somebody from knocking it out and reaching inside?
Right.
Nothing. So, and that's what it is. That's just my opinion, you know. And we, and I'll speak for everybody on our channel, we have seen people that have started out in this phenomenon or whatever phenomenon, and they have all the great evidence, and all of a sudden it all changes, and now they're having all these encounters in one weekend and all this. And you're like, dude, really? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
what I mean. To me, all I have is my pride and my word. And with all the cool stuff I've been blessed with, if I go out there and fabricate one piece of something just to try to get people's attention, all that hard work from the past is gone.
Everything.
your credibility is the only thing that you have in whatever field, line of work you do, law enforcement, whatever you do. Because once you lose your credibility, it's over. I don't think you can ever rebound from that. That's just my opinion.
No, everything's gonna. We know in the community several high-profile people that have been caught, even though they probably had legitimate stuff happen before, but they're so desperate to.
They're so attention starved, desperate,
Yes,
as you say,
thank
to
you, guys.
get
Thank you.
that, and I, know somebody like that as well, and it's not that I'll never go out with him and do anything with him again, but I haven't in a few years for that reason. That and not that, and there's some credible work that's been done in that area, but it's but when you know that there has been a hoax intermixed in there with that,
I totally agree
takes
with
away
you.
from that. So,
well,
Yeah, it
Brian,
totally sucks because they think they're going to be the ones to put Bigfoot on the map, and it's like, wait a minute, people.
right?
and
Bigfoot's already on the map.
they're
What you're
like,
trying to do
that's
is
just it. These people are like, well, we got to get the proof out there. The proof is out there.
yeah.
The proof is there's already the evidence. Plenty of evidence. We got to get the $1 million picture. Is Patterson and Gimlin make $1 million off that video? They may have. I don't know what they made off of it. Bob Gimlin doesn't seem like he lives that kind of lifestyle. There's no such thing as that.
Nope. Everybody wants that spotlight to be the one to break Bigfoot's real. It's like Bigfoot's already real. People
look at all the evidence that Meldrum has collected. I don't think he's quit his day job yet either, has he?
No, he sure hasn't, and he's on a lot of shows.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but Brian, I'm going to use you as an example because you and I talked about this before, and I don't have any problems discussing it. Nobody knew who you were. And then when we started exposing your story and having you on the show, other doors opened up because you built your credibility. And it's hard to do in this phenomenon, is to do that. But it is so important, I wish every time that I go out in the woods, I have an encounter. When Mary and I was out in the woods back in Kentucky visiting my parents, I took her out to one of the golf courses and let them collect golf balls. And when I went to take a picture of a mushroom, and this is in the same area where I captured those images on those cameras, trail cameras, my phone was blinging out off and on, flickering and all. And then I just looked at her and I was like, yeah, something's around, because that never happens. And I have that expensive GPS that's bigger than my hand. And when I went out there, you put trail cameras out. When I go to pick them up, I could not get the coordinates to lock on where I'm at. And that doesn't make any sense. But we hear it across the network about interference and battery drainage and complications. So, but I just wanted to say that to you, Brian, because I think the world of you. I really do.
Well, I've made so many new acquaintances, and lucky enough to call you friend. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I don't let a lot of people in. And, I always thought I was going to leave my mark in the fitness world as some kind of come up with a new training style or something. But in a way, it's kind of fun to be thought of as I'm probably going to be the peanut butter kid with the, Bigfoot for sure. At least you'll still talk about me. But, and I love doing this. I love being able to share, what's going on. And if it helps just one person, or it tells one person not to do what I did. And I mean, the fact I got to ask Ron Moore a question was like on my bucket list. To listen to Mike serenade Sissy, bucket list stuff, It's been amazing. And that's why I am so concerned with when I do find something. It's like, I don't want people to doubt what I'm doing.
Right. Sean says you may want to change the name, considering there's already a show called Sasquatch Experience. Sean, there probably is, sir. There are so many different shows with Bigfoot, Sasquatch. So for my protection through my attorneys and legal advice, anytime there's maybe a question, that's why I put the Sasquatch Experience, because that's what we're talking about, right? On Bigfoot Outlaw. That way I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or try to steal anybody's name or thunder, because unfortunately people use the same titles on other shows. We try not to. We really don't. We don't mean any harm, do we, guys?
No, we're just three tonight anyway. That's three guys. We're just giving up an hour of our time to have some fun and talk about something that that interests us and interests the audience, obviously, and helps people cope with their personal experiences as well. So,
and you know what? And that's one of the things that I really enjoy talking to people with, because to see them, to get that experience to them that's so terrifying off their chest and be able to speak to it and not be made fun of or be belittled or outcasted, it really means a lot to a lot of people. And when they see that from other people, Mike, you talked about it. Brian, you talked about it. I was talking to so-and-so, and they're like, hey, I see your show, or I talked to somebody, you mentioned that. I had no idea. It sparks a conversation.
And there are so many Bigfoot Sasquatch shows out there now.
Right. A lot.
That these names are going to overrun each other somehow or another. So,
yeah. Nobody means any harm. I mean, I've seen
really
people use my titles off my podcast, and I do pretty good research when I do my titles. But this one I wasn't for sure. So that's why I put on Bigfoot Outlaw. And we all know in this phenomenon or Sasquatch community, we don't try to take advantage of anybody or anybody's names or anything like that. So, we welcome any comments or any suggestions or questions at all. That's what we're here for. We're here because we love the unknown phenomenon regarding Bigfoot, right? It's just a mystery that we cannot explain today. And hopefully in the near future, we will. I'll say this, and I know the government's watching our channel. They come on and said it before in chat. They know about it. I do believe they have bodies and had bodies, just like aliens and UFOs. It is what it is. But can we actually prove that? So,
Right.
Yeah, I mean they're even releasing files now where initial agencies are looking at Bigfoot hair from the
yes,
70s. So some
yes.
of it's starting to trickle out. Will it happen in my lifetime? I don't think so, but maybe we'll get lucky.
Well, I'm glad you talked about hair, right? Even though that I shave my head and I'm bald right now, is that when people claim to have 100% no doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, that they have such a specimen like Bigfoot hair. And hey, Roger, love you, brother. Squatch and Holler in the show VIP. I should have had him on the show tonight too. He's got
He's gone big time now. He's gone to
he left us in the dust.
He's gone to Untold Network. I'm surprised he even lowers himself to watch us.
I know it. I mean, I feel like I'm special when he jumps in. And speaking of the devil, my brother from another mother. Welcome, Old Bear. But the thing though is, and I'm going to use Roger and Old Bear since they came in the chat. Look at what they have done for the Bigfoot and Sasquatch community.
Exactly.
You know, and if it wasn't for Old Bear, people like Roger, people like Mike, people like you, Brian, you know, you all make a difference. You all are so sincere and honest and got a big heart, and you all help other people through their process of and I'll say it, traumatic, and I don't care how you sugarcoat it, you know, because it does affect people. And some men won't say it does, just like Mike was referencing that guy that no longer hunts and he made up excuses. You know, it's things that we don't know or don't understand. It's okay. It's okay to question things. The only thing that I ask people in this world is that if somebody comes to you with an experience or encounter, whether you believe it or not, listen, let them talk. If you don't agree with it, just say, hey, I never experienced anything like that, but it's interesting. You know, what's your all takes on that? Your all's opinion.
I believe in totally listening to them, you know, and I don't ever, you know, unless it's somebody who's telling a lot and a lot of people, I don't ever call them out. What's the point? You know?
You're right. And before Mike answers this, Roger just says from Squatch and Holler, they experience something.
Yeah.
And the fear of the unknown is terrible on a human brain, the mind. And then when they actually physically see something like Becky run across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and how many people actually seen that and like, oh, that was a bear. It's a bear. It probably could be a bear. It probably was a bear. Not every time you see something big and hairy, it's going to be a Bigfoot. I'm sorry. But if you have those experiences like that, then hallelujah, you know, praise you. And we know people that are on Discovery, the History Channel, that's never experienced an encounter or seen one, and they're making big money.
Yeah.
My take on that, Grizz, and I did this with Becky because when Becky told me that she thinks she saw the Bigfoot, at that time I wasn't doing it. I hadn't discovered the evidence myself at that time, but she knew I watched the shows and I had an interest in it.
Right.
And so my response to her, and I do this every time, describe to me what you saw. Fair enough, right? So they come up, I think I experienced. Describe to me what you experienced. Describe to me what you saw. And then when they start doing that, then you usually pretty well tell whether they're making it up or not.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to caveat on you, Mike, is I love how you said that. Tell me what you saw.
Yeah.
Not tell me what you think you saw.
Right.
Now that's a difference. And because a lot of people, when they talk about their encounters, well, I think I saw this, or I thought it was this. It may be this. No, just like Mike said, just
describe it.
exactly
Give
what
me a
happened.
description.
Describe it.
In Becky's case, when she says 4 foot tall and white, I know at that point she's not making it up, because if she were trying to just hoax me on something or pull my leg, she's going to say 9 foot tall and dark, right?
Right.
So I'm like, well, wait a minute, 4 foot tall and white. And then she starts describing everything else to it, and it's like, hey, there are white ones out there. So that's, but always describe your experience to me.
Right.
And then a lot of times I say, okay, your experience is consistent with Bigfoot because they do these things. So it very well could have been that. Or I'll say, you know what? I never have heard anything like that before, but it's worth taking a closer look at.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell them you're crazy or you're nuts, so I don't believe you.
No,
it's worth taking a closer look. It's worth taking a closer look at.
Now, I did, and I have, and I still will on the show be like, shut the front door. Are you serious? Come on. Because I get excited because this is like, wow. Now I'm hearing a similar experience from somebody else, right? In a different part of the country, different part of the globe. And like Brian said, there's something out there. We know that. Brian's got evidence. Brian takes photographs of prints and tracks over the years. And it's just something that we enjoy, even though we not be able to provide answers all the time or solutions. But we do have an ear to listen. And if you do have an encounter or had an encounter and you want to talk and get it off your chest, either on the air, off the air, we can change your name. Don't have to, be on camera or anything like that, because there's a little button down there we can hit. You can put a little logo up there or another picture. It don't matter. We can hide your identity. But if you have something like that and you want to share it, reach out to Mike, reach out to Brian, reach out to us on the channel.
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear about it because, thank you, not only do we want to hear about it, that's how we learn and validate other people's encounters. Because like Mike and Brian said, we've been around the block a little bit. So when I don't know the answers or any solutions, we go to ourselves and share it. What do you think? What's your opinion? Watch this. Tell me what you think. Ain't that right, guys?
Yeah.
I reach out to Old Bear. I reach out to other people, and get their opinions. And I value them. Speaking of Old Bear, his birthday's coming up. So happy early birthday, Old Bear. I may not be able to be in person this time, but I got you in my heart, dude. So I just want to say that.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that was a fast hour.
Yeah, it went by quick.
Yeah.
Well,
It's always good when you're having a conversation, though.
Oh, always. Mike, Brian, any last words before we wrap up?
No, thank you for letting me hop on last minute.
We always appreciate Brian coming on. He brings a lot to the table, and I, this is an hour for me that we just talk all things Bigfoot and kind of throw everything. We had a storm come through Cape last night and not killed my air conditioner. So I get to put all that stuff aside for an hour and just talk about this, and everything's cool. So.
And I'll say this: I will send out an invitation to Roger and Old Bear to join us on a Wednesday on a convenient date for them, and to have a further discussion about some encounters. Squatch and Holler has some good evidence. I mean, he shares stuff with me from time to time to ask my opinion or what do I think or listen to this, and it's pretty good. And stuff like that is hard to get. It really is. So I think that'll be a good show, don't you?
I'd almost get them separately because each of them
have so much.
Have so much
Yeah, that's
for a show.
true. That's true.
So-
Well, it's out there. Roger says anytime. I don't know if Old Bear's still watching. Hey, Miss Old Bear, if you are, miss you guys. But I'll circle back to him. I know y'all got a camping trip this weekend, right, Brian?
I don't. That one that I'm going to is October.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Scott. Hey, man, thank you for the compliments about the
Yes,
shows.
sir. Yes.
You know, we really think Joey's going to go with us on an expedition. He's planning on going to see Mike and stuff. And but it's just
Joey
gonna
and
be great.
I think Curtis is it Curtis
Yes.
supposed to come down too? Yeah,
Yes,
so I'm looking forward to
absolutely.
meeting Joey and Curtis as well. So
Absolutely. So yeah, my vlog, you know, I share Squatch and Holler YouTube videos. And if you're not a follower or a subscriber to Old Bear Den or Squatch and Holler, check them out. 100% reliable.
well, that's
Whatever
the
they
thing,
say, I trust
Grizzly.
them.
That's the thing is that we do this for fun. We think we put out a good program. We think we're talking some sense and stuff like that. But you know, Roger does it. We support these other folks, and that, you know, we had Adam on here with his half-inch wrench crew. You know, a lot of people out there doing great work, and we support them all. It's a
Yes.
great, you know, the animosity is not there as you would
No,
get
not at all.
in other genres. So
Not at
Yeah.
all.
My vlog, Sonny, does a great job on Facebook posting.
Oh, wonderful
Yeah.
job. Outstanding. And I can never say enough about everybody. And I probably do not say enough for all the viewers and support, not only for our channel, but for everybody on our channel. Brian, Scott, Mike Scott, Kelly, everybody, right? I can't mention everybody's name, but everybody. And if y'all have any suggestions or want to know anything or see some content, either we can bring you on the show and talk about it, or we'll research it and we'll get together and do a program on it. Does that sound good to you guys?
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I do this, is because it's, for me, it's fun. And I've told many people, if it gets to the point where it feels like a job, I probably won't do it.
Right.
It's fun
This
and
is just
it's
for love and
therapy.
fun.
Bingo, therapy. I love that word.
So
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And thank you, Mike. And thank you,
Yes.
Sir Brian, so much. I really enjoyed tonight. I really appreciate it.
yes, sir.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.
And from coast to coast, around the world, Godspeed. We'll catch you on tomorrow's show. Goodbye, everybody.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No, we're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not Chipmunk?
Action.
No, I'm out of here.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!